Hello, my name's Baeza, and I'm one of the Labour Party candidates for Preston Park. I'm really passionate about Brighton and Hove, and I'm particularly passionate about where I live, which is in Preston Park. I've been here for the past 10 years. My children have gone to the local schools. I've been a governor at one of those schools at Downs Junior, and I think we've got a great place here in Preston Park, but I think it can be made better. And that's what prompted me to come into local politics and to get involved in the Labour Party. I arrived in the UK in 1974. My father was exiled from Chile after Pinochet overthrew the democratically elected socialist government of Salvador Allende. I've always found the UK a very welcoming community. I grew up in Worthing, not very far from Brighton, and from a young age I used to enjoy watching Brighton at the Golston Ground. I think it's really important to vote in local elections. A lot of people don't. We have quite low turnout, sometimes as low as 40–50%. I'm really keen for most people to come out and vote. And I think the important thing is that council services affect everybody and affect everybody every day. So things like education, things like health and social services, workers' rights and employment opportunities, and also the kind of things that you know councils are responsible for example, bin collection and parking. But we can make inroads into improving the environment and improving the working life of people. And so to do that, we need engagement from our residents. And that starts on the 2nd of May by you casting a vote for Labour. It's really important that we get a Labour majority council. With a Labour majority council, we can do positive things for our neighbourhood. For example, we pledge to become carbon neutral by 2030. We've seen our young people marching on the streets demanding action on climate change. We want to turn that into a reality at the local level. We've got to protect our local services. So for example, homelessness. We all see the disastrous national conservative policy that has created this homelessness crisis. We can start to tackle that at a local level. So for example, a Labour council will build at least 800 houses so that we can start to tackle the homelessness crisis. We also want to work with our local large institutions, for example the hospitals, the 2 universities, the schools, and we want to arrange a partnership so that we buy goods and services within our city from small and medium-sized enterprises, hopefully from workers' cooperatives. Those institutions spend over £1 billion on goods and services. If we can keep that in the city, then that creates wealth for everybody in the city, and it's much more just and it works for equality. We also want to look at local transportation. So the bus service is quite a good network that we have in Brighton and Hove, but I talk to a lot of people in Preston Park and beyond, and what they say to me, yeah, it gets to the places where I want to go, but it's far too costly. We need to do something about that, and we're going to be looking at the fares that bus companies charge and see if we can reduce them. Develop a number of park and rides so that the city centre becomes unclogged and is pedestrian friendly and cycle friendly. Work with our schools, they've got a funding crisis. As a council, we can be there in a leadership role and advocate for the need for more funds for us, for our local schools and for our children and young people. As a health researcher, I've done a lot of investigations into our health service in the UK. There's been too much privatisation under the Conservatives nationally. But it's really important that at a local level we protect our NHS services, and as a Labour council that's what we'll do. Health is at the heart of everything. We know that there's a mental health crisis, particularly for our young people in the city. It's also linked to homelessness. A lot of homeless people have mental health issues that have not been tackled. So again, as a Labour council, we will promise to tackle those issues and enhance our mental health services so that they can really get to the root of some of the social problems that we have in Brighton and Hove City. We also need to tackle the scourge of rough sleeping. It's unacceptable that in 2019 we still see men and women sleeping rough on our streets in Brighton and Hove City. And we're going to combat that by providing temporary accommodation so no one has to rough sleep in our city. We can help them turn their lives around. A Labour Council will enable us to do that. So make sure on the 2nd of May you vote Labour in Preston Park.